It's the Home of Grand Prix racing, and for the first time this year, for the only time this year, because next year we get Portimao back, I get to talk in Greenwich Mean Time. Welcome to Silverstone, welcome to the British Grand Prix. And we'll start off with the schedule, a bumper schedule this time around, because we have F1 Academy as well as F3 and F2 on the package this time around. Starting off, Friday's action, 7:45 local time, F1 Academy practice, followed by F3 practice at 8:50. 10 o'clock is F2 practice, followed by FP1 for F1 at 12:30 p.m. F3 qualifying is at 2 p.m, followed by F2 qualifying at 2:55 p.m. Then after an historic demonstration, you have sprint qualifying, because to make things more complicated, it's also a sprint weekend. The sprint qualifying at 4:30 p.m. local time on the Friday, followed by F1 Academy qualifying at 6 p.m. Saturday kicks off with the F3 sprint at 9:35 a.m, followed by the F1 sprint at midday. F2 sprint is after that, 1:45 p.m, followed by another demonstration, followed by the Formula One qualifying at 4 p.m. 6 p.m. is the F1 Academy reverse grid race to round out Saturday's action. And Sunday, that kicks off with the F3 feature. That's at 8:25, early start. F1 Academy follows that at 10 o'clock. At 11:15 is the F2s, and after another demonstration at 3 p.m. UK time, local time, it's the British Grand Prix. Now, as for the forecast, because, well, we've just had a heat wave in Europe, don't expect that to be happening again this time around. Expect weather to be roughly in the 20-degree region, with a high of 26 over the weekend, which we'll see on Friday and Sunday, a high of 25 on the Saturday. So nicely warm. There'll be some cloud coverage, but, yeah, not too much. And as a result, there's even more a reason not to trust 2025, which was a wet race. Verstappen was on pole for that one, followed by Piastri and Norris, and then it was Russell and Hamilton and Leclerc, then Antonelli. And yeah, in comparison, in the race, it was the McLaren 1-2, Piastri getting that penalty for Verstappen spinning out, and it was the popular podium, the first podium for Nico Hülkenberg, ahead of Hamilton and Verstappen in 5th. So, Audi getting their first podium? I don't know. Let's actually talk about what we can keep an eye out for, because there's a lot that we need to consider with Silverstone. Because although this is a home race for most of the teams, in fact, more homely for some, the likes of Cadillac and Aston Martin being based around Silverstone, and for a fair few of the drivers as well, it's not a track that is going to be reflective of the wider season. We've heard Max Verstappen making comments about how it's going to be flat most of the lap because they're going to run out of battery quite quickly. You'll see a lot of clipping. That's what is going to be expected. There are some heavy braking zones, so for example Village, Brooklands, and going into Vale. But aside from that, there is so much that's going to be flat out. The run down the Wellington Straight, the run down the Hangar Straight, the run down the Hamilton Straight, the run into Copse, going through Copse potentially, depending on how quickly out of Luffield you run out of battery. These demands mean it's difficult to think about who's going to be ones to watch going into this weekend. For example, Ferrari with their smaller turbo might find themselves more speed limited quicker. Red Bull with the strongest ICE might find that they're able to maintain higher speeds. It could easily be something that could be a dark horse one for these other power units. So it could easily be a dark horse one, for example, for Audi. Or it could even be one that we see Honda perform a bit better at, given, you know, we've got the Aston Martin base across the road. It's really hard to get a form book for Silverstone, because we haven't really had a track like it so far this season. If you think about the other tracks that we've had some that are relatively flat with little elevation changes like Gilles Villeneuve, but that's also partially temporary circuit. On top of that, some of the ones that we would use that have some similar metrics to it, something like Bahrain, we haven't been to. Even some bits like Jeddah, again, we haven't been there. So it's really hard to go, okay, this is what to expect. It could be that Ferrari have a performance like they did in Shanghai, where they're a while behind the Mercedes, they're clear of the other cars, and they have a little battle amongst themselves, for example. It could easily be that Red Bull ends up coming through with this one, because like I mentioned, thanks to the Adamo investigations, which we are expecting the final version of after the British Grand Prix, Red Bull have the strongest internal combustion engine. So if they're struggling with the MG UK, maybe this is a place that negates that. Either way, folks, that's an awful lot of information to process all at once, but thank you so much for watching and joining. Thank you for continued support on this channel. Hopefully on Sunday, we'll get out a Grand Prix review. But until next time, as always on this channel, it's bye-bye for now.